Because the man I'm about to bring up is, I think, the foremost growth strategist for small companies in the world. He's dealt with big companies as well, so I shouldn't limit it. And he's just a marketing master. I can't tell you how many people are out there that have developed their own individual brand or name in advising companies on how to grow and how to be marketed that really were just his students. And they took elements of what he did and focused on maybe one or two of them. He is the type of individual that has a mind that thinks on multiple levels. He's a guy that plays three-dimensional chess, metaphorically and quite physically in the way he looks at business. And part of how he built it is Jay Abraham spent his life really going to working with all these different industries. He's been responsible now for working with 10,000 different businesses in 400 different industries. When you cross-pollinate in that many different areas, and you study those businesses, and you look for their strengths and their weaknesses, and where is really the strategic difference, not just a little tactic somebody did, but where did they start that gave them that competitive advantage, that unfair competitive advantage? Well, what was it they did to leverage what they're doing? Because you can even have a great strategy, but if you don't get leverage, you don't scale it, you're going to limit what your reward is. You're going to limit what your return is. You're going to limit the impact you're going to have on clients and on the world. So he's going to come in and he's going to give you an immense amount. And I'm very, very privileged and excited to bring you Jay Abraham. Give it up for him, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy.
Look, after spending nearly 30 years of my professional life growing businesses for people all over the world, I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly in economic times and in ultra-competitive marketplaces like yours. We know how to get a business like yours going and growing. We know how to take a business like yours and increase the number of buyers you attract and sell. We know how to increase the size of the sales you generate and the profit they earn you. We know how to get more people buying again and again. We also know some exceptional ways to increase the number of referrals, leads, and conversions you generate. We also know many new selling approaches, fresh sources of new buyers, and some preemptive marketing methods that will outperform whatever you're doing now. In 1 minute, tell everybody what you do, who you do it for, and where you do it.
I'm a medical doctor, and I also have medical laser centers, 2 of them in 2 different towns.
Okay.
The one is in a small town where I have my practice, and then the second one is in a bigger center about 200 kilometers from me.
Okay, all right. So what are the services you sell? Both of them the same or different?
They're the same. The medical practice is separate, but the laser centers is my main problem.
And so it's cosmetic?
Cosmetic,
Where
yeah.
do you get your clients?
Well, in the northern part of Alberta, which is basically north of Edmonton.
How do you generate them?
I have direct advertising.
Where do you run it at?
In papers.
The average unit of sale or the average case value?
Well, for hair removal would be about $250 per client.
Okay. One time, or do they come back for more procedures?
Yeah, they are supposed to be coming about 4 or 5 times.
And what's the average? Do you know what the average is?
Yeah, most of them come about that.
Okay, so it's really more like $1,000 to $1,250.
Yeah.
Okay. How many cases a month will the average ad? Will that $1,500 pull in?
We think about 15 to 20.
15 people at $250 the first time is a return on investment of about, if you say that it's $200, it's $3,000 for 15, so you're doubling your money up front and you're accruing 4 to 5 more transactions on the back end, right?
Yes.
Okay. And how often do you run the ads?
Well, every week there are ads run, once a week.
You know that when you spend $1,500, you double your money up front and you accrue 4 to 5 times that on the back end, and you only run it one time. Why wouldn't you want to run it literally till it stopped, till it broke even?
Well, we could.
I know there's but why don't you?
Well, the main reason was cost. That we felt.
But it doesn't cost. It's a profit center.
Yeah.
And it's actually it's not even just a profit center. It's a front end profit center that accrues. What do you invest in the stock market?
A little bit.
If you could get 1,000% return a year on your investment, would you borrow money for that?
Yes. 1,000% interest.
Well, if you got 1,000% ROI on your money every year, would you borrow money to be able to, if you had to pay, 12%, 10%, it'd be a pretty good yield, wouldn't it?
Yes.
You might consider, first of all, if the front-end ads work, first thing I would do is run them more often. The next thing I would do would be to experiment with the headline.
I can't say enough about my dear friend Jay Abraham, the marketing genius of our time. Using one of his principles that we learned out of 200 helped skyrocket our book Chicken Soup for the Soul to #1 for the last 8 weeks in the New York Times bestseller list.
He's a genius. What can I tell you? I instituted seriously what he has to say 4 years ago. The first year we increased 68%, the next year 53%, last year 58%.
I lost $3.5 million in one day. It took me approximately 30 months to recoup that money using Jay's techniques, where prior to that I had been in business for like 60 months. So it was a terrific benefit to me.
He is a marketing genius, just like everybody says he really is.